The following program may contain strong language and mature content. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to She Is Shenomenal. I am your host, Tasha Champion, the Shenomenal Coach of Champion Empowerment, always teaching you to love the champion you are. And I always say I'm excited about today. I'm excited about my guests. And I mean, really, I do. I really be excited about all the people that I have on here. But today I'm talking to someone that I've wanted to interview. Like long before I even started the show, I was like, hey, I'm going to want you on my show. Like, we got to let people know all about you. This lady is like the date coach queen, expert. Like, she has sent many women down the aisle to get them all married off, and just simply from following her tips. So, your girl is single, and I'm gonna have to start working with her. I did a session with her, and then some other things came up, but I gotta go back because she's the real deal. So if you have some dating questions, then you're gonna want to pop them into the chat. But she's gonna drop some knowledge. Like, we're gonna go in deep so she can talk about the dating apps, how people are wasting their time. We want to talk about, do men and women date the same, but maybe with a different approach. But here's the thing. I got the lady with all the dating answers. So, groove to the intro of my show with this great music, and then we'll be right back with dating expert coach Vee Prince. Hey, Vee.
Hey, look, I was taking your direction. You said groove, so I was.
Yeah, they hooked my music up. I love it. I love it. It doesn't feel like today's music. It puts me back into the mind of like when R&B had a really good like groove to it. I was like, yeah, they captured the essence of Tasha in that
Right.
intro music.
It's giving me Ricky Lake. It's giving me Ricky Lake. It's giving me
classic
all day.
Classic. I'm sorry, the youngsters are like, Ricky who? What guy is that?
Right. Look it up. Ricky was the GOAT. Okay, all of us wanted to be Ricky. All right, with the
right. Wait, with the AOL email address, just
period. Look, down earth.
Well, we're gonna have some fun today. We are going to. He said, "Come on, Ricky, like and Jenny Jones." Yes.
Listen, all of them.
and Mari is still on.
Okay. Listen, didn't they just cancel it? Okay, look,
I don't know.
Confused.
We can make a show about talk show memory lane, and oh my God, we got to have a few of us on for that. That would be hilarious. All right, so I'm really excited to, hey, Crystal, to have you on because I think it was probably over a year ago. I was like, Vee, I'm going to do this show and I'm definitely going to want you on. I think what you have to offer and bring to the table is truly amazing. And of course, I think a lot of people don't know a dating coach exists. I didn't know until I got into the coaching world. So before we start diving into the questions about dating and getting into the juiciness and, you know, sending some other folks down the aisle after they find their right partner from listening to you, tell us a little about Who is Vee Prince, and how did you become the dating expert you are today?
So, first of all, thank you so much for having me. Literally my favorite topic. Like, I took it from the hair salon to a whole business because I was like, look, I got to get the ladies on point. Not that I'm not checking the gentlemen because they getting some tea too, but obviously I am a woman and I am trying to get my sisters together and gathered and collected as I collected myself. How I got started. So a little bit of my story for those who do not know is that I lost my first husband, my late husband, in the beginning of 2016, very suddenly. We were in our early 30s at the time. It was just, obviously you go through something like that, it totally turns your world upside down. So from all of that, in the midst of my grief, I was kind of like, I'm lonely. We were together 10 years. Like, I don't know how to do this. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, you know what? I'm just going to start dating. I don't know what I'm doing because I had never really dated. It was kind of like a guy would like me. And then I was like, okay, like, I guess we go together. Like, that was literally it. Like, I had maybe 2 boyfriends prior to meeting my first husband. So I had no clue what I was doing. So I just was out there just doing my thing. Girl, a hot mess, just a hot mess.
Gosh.
Oh, I dated the FOTEP, Black Power, but I want 9 wives, but I don't have money for the one wife. I dated the hobo sexual, the one who's a homeless man, but he doesn't look like a homeless man because he spent all of his money on his clothes and his car.
But you still cannot say.
Right. And he want to move in with you on the 3rd date. You know what I'm saying? Like, I dated them all. I dated the immature mama's boy. Like, I went through all of them so quickly because I was like, this is weird. What in the world? But in the midst of kind of realizing how kind of weird the LA dating game was, because at the time I was in LA, I was like, I still got some stuff I got to work on with myself because I'm grieving. Most of this happened in year 1 of me being a widow. So it's like so many different changes. But then in my mind, I said, essentially, I'm starting over. I'm being reborn. What do I want that to look like? Like, I could easily say, life is over and that's it for me. And I guess I'm gonna just die alone and oh well, that. But then a part of me was like, but what if I could dream big and want more? Because to be completely honest, my first marriage was toxic. Oh, so bad. It was so bad, right? So I said to myself, look, I got some choices here. I can work on myself, but I can also decide that I'm not going to I'm not going to be chosen anymore. I'm not going to be like, oh, if you like me, then we're good. Nah, bruh. The interview portion of the game has began, bro. You are number 1 out of
right.
And I'm that way. So that's essentially how I got started. I started sharing my story online. A friend hit me up and was like, girl, you seem like you know what you're talking about. Can you coach me how to use the app? Because most of my dates were coming from the apps. And I was like, okay. And I think she paid me like $25 an hour or something, whatever.
Oh my gosh.
And I was, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was just like,
you're just doing what you know how to do, right?
And really at the time, I didn't think like dating coach is like a thing. I was just kind of like, I'm just going to show her how to use the apps. I don't know, what. And then we just started talking about more stuff. And I started breaking down like the process of how I was vetting my dating partner. I was having a great time, girl. I was getting flued out. I was going to weddings. I was out there about. And my friends had questions. So from there, that's where the business really got started.
Wow. So let's just go right into like the coaching. What is like the number 1 question? Like, no matter who you're coaching, they're going to ask this same question each and every time. What is that one question?
How do I get him to take me on a date? How do I get men to take me out? That's usually the number 1 question. Because yeah, look, me too. I'm always shocked because the bulk of my clients are women who just literally do not know how to date. They are just like I was. They do not know what that looks like. They were taught, we all, I think, were taught by our elders a man like you and he doing this stuff for you, then y'all go together and then y'all married and have 9 kids. Like that's just
That don't work.
I'm not 9 kids part because I got the one and I'm good.
One and done.
We gonna see what God has for me, but that's the plan.
Right.
But you know what I'm saying? Like getting information that was outdated. It no longer fits who we are as women, especially as Black women, being the most the most highest educated and the most highest numbers of entrepreneurs, right?
Wow.
So we have a certain level of education and business acumen that just no longer stands a chance against our history as Black women, right? Like we are constantly moving the needle. So with that to be said, dating is not the same game. We are not those same people, right? So everything had to elevate. Everything had to get to higher points. So with that to be said as well, women are learning, like, what does that look like for me? And I don't know how to get them to do that because they feel like they're threatening the men. They feel like the men are so intimidated. Oh, they're so intimidated. Yeah, but those are like the wrong men. You don't want to deal with those men. Because let me tell you, the men that you want to date, they're like, oh, bring that on here, girl. Bring that a little closer because that's what I'm talking about. Yes. Let me run this bath water from that long meeting you've been in all day, girl. I got you.
Okay, so they do exist because there are like so many posts on Facebook. Like as a single woman, it drives me crazy. A real man to do this, a real man to do that. If he's a good man, he's gonna do this. We have like all of these lists of what a good man is supposed to do. And I always ask, like, but are you the woman that matches that same energy that you trying to attract? So how important is it for women to be what they want to have?
It's very important. I mean, it's very important. It's I find that one of the issues is that you have this list of standards, right? But the list has no soul. And what I mean by that is,
you gotta run that back. Run that back and say that again, because there's some people back in the backs that can't hear that. Say that again.
Is this thing on?
Right.
We as women can have these lists. All women have a list. But what I find as a date coach is that the list don't have a soul. There's no soul in this list. What kind of person? Who are they? And really what that ties to is back to your question, who are you? And when I ask my clients during our first few sessions, okay, let's build your list of what you're looking for off of who you are. What do you like to do? Do you know what I hear usually?
I don't know.
Give me any dating app bio. Sushi and hiking. Girl, you don't like no dang hiking. You don't like hiking. It's okay if you don't like hiking, but it's like I get a regurgitation of what they should be saying instead of a real, and that's the check-in, right? Who am I? And what am I looking for? Right? So that's why your question is so perfect, because that's how you make sure that you're matching up with what you're asking for. But you are much more than these basic elements of, I want a man who protects me, and I want a man. Okay, well, that's kind of common decency, like, duh. Okay. Right. But what else? Right? What are your needs? What are your real needs? Like, who are you in your life as you move along? What are those mundane details that are going to help you align with your person? The universe don't like confusion. So if you're just sending anything out, I just want a man who's nice, who buys me stuff, and okay, well, here's a man who's nice and buys you stuff, but he also cheats on you, and he's got psychological issues, and his baby toes a little dead in the inside. Like you didn't give me no details. I'm sorry.
You gotta be specific.
You gotta be specific.
Okay, all right. So let me ask you: do men and women date the same with like a different approach, or is dating completely different for men and women?
Yes and no. So men are experiencing pretty much the same thing that women are experiencing. Okay. I would only say maybe a little worse because men don't take good advice. Most men, I don't want to say all, but most men don't take good advice. And what I mean by that is you have the he who shall remain nameless we know who we're talking about. I don't have to say it because they cannot defend themselves.
Right.
In addition to all the offspring, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who are spewing information about dating, but not necessarily practicing. So when the scripture don't match the action, again, soulless, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's misdirection. So a lot of these men don't know how to find partners. Let me tell you something. The amount of men that might be out at these clubs looking for the video-esque looking girl, the girl they always imagine in their head they will end up with, and the fact that she is not that at all, they have the exact same issue. They've got lists in their head. I met a young man, he was 30 years old, had his own business, trying to get it together. He's like, I'm not really ready for a serious relationship right now. You know, I'm taking my time. I said, okay, well, you know, what are you looking for? I like women who are light-skinned with curly hair. Sir, but do you know that this is like the first 5 things that a man will say? He will give physical attributes of what his partner looks like because he don't know really nothing. He don't know how to put the pieces together.
Right.
So it's just like I was just saying about a woman having a standard of list, and trust me, being over 6 foot is definitely in that top 5 attribute list for most women. Okay. Over 6 feet, good curl pattern. Like, wait,
4C hair,
like,
long.
God is like, okay, like, what are you doing to me right now? What are you doing to me? So that's why I say they're having a similar experience because they don't know what it looks like either. I will say though that once a man has decided, ready for a relationship, ready to get serious, ready to lock it down, my house is in order. That's kind of, in a stereotypical way, the nature of a man. Very kind of simple, straightforward. That's why when a man will tell you, oh, I'm not ready for a relationship, I'm not really looking for anything serious right now, da da da. Please listen. Please listen. That's the best thing you could do.
Yeah, don't try to change him.
Yep. Please don't. Let him go. Okay, boo. Sounds good.
So a lot of women, a lot of people are using dating apps. I am on 1 or 2 or 3. I unintentionally ghost people because that app just be sitting and I'm not going through it. I might start a conversation. It'll be 5 days before I go back to it. I actually I've been going out with this guy who said I ghosted him the first time. And I was like, oh, I don't remember. And he was like, wow, I wasn't memorable. And I was like, oh, don't ask me. Look, I don't put sugar over shit and tell people it's brownie. So don't ask me to answer to. But what is it about? Is there something specific that these dating apps can give you that you're not getting in your everyday life? Is there something that we're missing if we're not finding those dates through the dating apps? Are we missing something in our profile? Or Shanice says some of them are shallow. But I think some of the women are shallow too. But are we missing something in what should be in our profile? Maybe our pictures? What's going on? How can we utilize and benefit from some of these dating apps?
So the first thing I'm going to say is that I always encourage my clients to really work on changing their perspectives about dating apps. Let's think about, let's change it to, let's think about it like LinkedIn, right? Okay. I don't know if anybody uses LinkedIn to find jobs. Any of the job platforms to help you find a job, right?
Right.
If you were looking for a job actively, if you were serious and you got your resume, you updated your profile and you sending it out, if you get a couple messages, even if they're not a good fit, you're probably going to say something. Right? And so I think that I struggle with the fact that people like to put dating in their high priority, but they do not really prioritize it in action. They treat it like lackluster. We're talking about a life partner here for most of us, right? If we're talking about, if my clients say, I want to find a good partner, I want to get married, I want to build a family, this is going to be your husband. So why would we not be serious? And that's what I tell my clients. Please do not use me if you're not going to be serious about using the tools to find your person. That's the first thing. So to stop thinking about dating apps like, oh, it's just a cesspool and it's just all these shallow people. Okay, well, you're going to kind of get what you get because that's already setting your mind frame to not be more strategic about it. Because you're already going in saying, this is trash. Like I'll give you that. We went out shopping today. My husband, we going to Ross. I think we're in Ross. And we get in there and he goes, I never find anything in here. I'm not gonna find nothing, whatever. I said, well, we might as well leave if that's your perspective, because that's not aligning us with what we want. I don't mess around with manifestation in my time. I can go home if you think we're gonna lose. I don't lose.
We leave the house to win.
Well, leave the house to win. Now look, if at the end of the day we don't find nothing, it's fine. But you going in saying we not gonna do it is why are we shopping? If we ain't gonna find anything. No, we're not doing that. It's the same thing. You going into dating having that perspective. So that's the first thing. The second thing is being more serious. Obviously, you're gonna clean up your profile. A lot of times I do see the wrong stuff in these descriptions. I like sushi and hiking. You do not like sushi and hiking. You're saying you like sushi and hiking because you think the man you want gonna say he likes sushi and hiking. Then he gonna take you to sushi and hiking. Then you gonna be mad because you don't really like that. And then you what? Where'd I leave you? With a mismatch. Right. And then he looking at you crazy like, I don't understand why she's upset. I gave her what she wanted. Right? So clean it up and being very, very specific. The other thing is to know what you're looking for. To know what you're looking for. Let me tell you something. The best ones have the worst pictures. The best men on dating apps have the worst pictures. Can you imagine? If my husband, if I ever found him on a dating app, even though I met him in real life, but if I had ever found him on a dating app, do you know how many mirror selfies I'd have? He'd been in his car, stone face. Different angles. Or don't forget the one up above. Like, why do I want to look or over? Horrible pictures.
Okay.
Horrible pictures.
Talking about the pictures, I'm going to tell you, if you have a dog in your picture, I will bypass it. And it's not that it's not that I don't like dogs. It's just that I'm like, is your dog your priority? I don't know. Cause like, I'm not going to love on I don't love dogs like I love kids. Like some people, dog ain't sleeping in the bed. I don't know if you want to kiss this dog. Like y'all just too close. Are you in a relationship with your dog? Like I swipe left. I can't do it.
This sounds like this is very detailed. This is very specific. Okay, Tash. I have questions. Like, is it happening to you?
If and I just like people that are like all lovey-dovey with their dogs. I'll be like, so what are you weird? Like, I have this whole thing, but I know I'm in my head. And I don't like dudes where all your pictures you got on the head.
Right. What? I mean, like, what? I have to say, like,
listen, I'm being honest because I think a lot of women out there have these same things. It might not be a dog, but it might be something else. So that's why I want to talk about it. Cause I'm like that with dudes that have a hat on in every picture. I'm like, is your head wopped? Like, am I going to see like milk duds and dents, or am I going to see cellulite in your scalp? Like,
listen, you filtering your own outcomes. And I guarantee you, your husband, your future husband or partner, or one of your dates is going to have one of these things, and they're going to shock you.
Wow.
They're going to shock you. Because really, I mean, I'm going to just be honest, and this is not like super shade or whatever, but I'm just saying.
Thanks, honey.
It's a bit superficial.
Right.
Because it's the thing. If that man was all the things to you, right? Y'all got along, y'all were like besties. Y'all clicked. Y'all spoke the same languages, finished each other's lyrics. Would it matter that he takes all his pictures with a hat on?
Right.
Probably not. You'd be like, oh, my man loves his hats because he got a hat collection on the wall, and you would let it fly, right?
Exactly. So
that's why it's like it's a lot of times you and my clients would limit, your outcomes. And it's not like,
I'm sorry, Kwame, exit left, please. Exit left. He said this is coming from the woman that thinks sugar go on grits.
Oh. Listen, my mama likes sugar grits, so I can't say nothing. I gotta look.
There we go. Okay, so and the reason why, I'm saying this because I know it's other people that have those hangups, but what are you blocking in those hangups? And
it's true. And that's why I say you got to get your mind right for when you go on these dating apps. You really got to go and say, this is what I'm looking for. This is what type of person, this is what they might have in their profiles, whatever. With men, their pictures are not going to be great. Now, I will say if he's like taking pictures at the gym all the time, or in like revealing clothing, or he's got a bunch of women in his picture, those are just red flags. And for anybody listening, you guys can go on my website and download my dating app guide that has all of these tips in there. The red flags, everything is in there of what to look for.
Give your website.
It's on my website. So do that. Another thing that I will say though,
give your website so that people can hear.
VeePrince.com. Sorry, VeePrince.com. VEE Prince like the singer.com. Okay. Holler at me. Excuse me. One more thing I was going to say though about your dating app profile. This is very important because men are visual. They hardly ever read your descriptions. So, excuse me. Try to tell a visual story of who you are in your pictures. Make it diverse. Give headshots, full bodies, and special interests. You like riding bikes. You actually like hiking. That's fine. You like drinking wine. Any of that stuff. Give the image. Smile. That's the number one thing I see when I'm doing these dating app audits. Why y'all so mean in these pictures? Ain't you trying to get a date? Ain't you trying to go out? Every picture look like this. Cruella DeVille. No, this ain't Fashion Week. Smile.
Oh my God. Okay, pause right there. Pause right there. We're going to take a quick commercial break. And then when we come back, I want to get into like some of the misconceptions about dating, as well as like how to stop wasting your time. What are we doing that's causing us to waste our time, and what can we do differently? So let's take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Y'all, we are back having a very fun conversation. I know these last like 30 minutes gonna go by super fast because she over there dropping these nuggets about the whole dating life. It's different from when your grandmother used to say, just let them court you. It's gonna end up like this. We're talking a different day and age. So before we kind of get back to the questions, there was a post that I specifically screenshot because I knew you were going to be on the show today. And the post said, can we bring back men taking women on real, in all caps, dates, opening the car door for them and bringing flowers for no reason? Like, is it something that, like, I hear Steve Harvey say, you're not requiring it? Or are men just really different? Like, are women taking it back to making sure the house is completely spotless and making sure dinner is on the table when you get home? Like, have roles changed, or what are we looking at now?
So I will say that real dates exist, and Steve be on it. I realize Steve is an older man, so he comes up in a completely different generation in the way that they do things, right? So that what he's saying does fit. You have to require it. I mean, it just because that's how it works nowadays. Is if you say you're on the dating apps and he's like, hey, yeah, for the first day you can just come over to my house and I'm a cook for you. I'm a chef and I do the thing. There are a lot of women that are like, yeah, that sounds great.
No.
Me. Like, what? No.
Hold on. I have to tell you, because I met a guy in Vegas. We were both like singing, and very attractive guy. We exchanged contact, and that was his thing, was like, oh, I would love to cook for you. I'm thinking he's meaning in the future. He meant right now. And my spirit was like, you better look him up. So we kept chatting, and my spirit said again, you better look him up. And I'm like, because I was like, oh, I don't go to people's homes on a first date. You can't even pick me up for a date. Like, I'm going to meet you somewhere. Right. I look him up. As soon as I type his name in, Google completed the sentence. Okay. He was on like stddate.com. He was on thismanwillscammyou.com. He was on like every bad dating site.
Thismanwillscammyou.com. I know a couple men that need to go on that website.
Dale says only my wife or main gets flowers just cause I potential. I'm just trying to get to know. No. And I will say, you know, Dale comes from, I didn't know his father, but a lot of my friends did. And they always talk about what a great father he had. And I think he poured a lot into the way that Dale dated. He's got a beautiful wife now. And Dale definitely, not only will he bring you flowers, but he can also do a hell of a flower arrangement himself. So that's just you go, Dale and Tessa. Yeah. Hey, yes, that's his beautiful wife.
More power to you and how you do it. I will say though that men do that. If you are required, not even if you require it, if you allow yourself to receive it. Ooh. It's not about making demands and be like, hey, you got to do this for me to impress me and blah, blah, blah. Honestly, if y'all are clicking, a man is going to do what he thinks he needs to do to impress you. However, if you don't need to be impressed, you are not allowing yourself to accept the things. Every time he says, oh, no, you ain't got to do that. Oh, no, you ain't got to do that. Oh, no, you ain't got to do that. He ain't going to do that. He really ain't going to do that. He going to stop doing that. But guess what? I have met men, a lot of my male friends, you probably had these conversations where they have different levels of what they do for different women.
Yes.
Oh, I did all this for this woman. I met a man who got an apartment for his girl, got a car fixed, put some money down and sent her son to school. Another girl, oh no, she wanted me to buy her a dress when we went. The nerve.
Wow.
So you know what I'm saying? Honestly, this is what I've learned. Men will do different levels of things for different women. Yeah, maybe they play it fair across the board, but most of them have different levels. Why? Right. Because they in their minds gauge men the same way we do at different levels.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's for them to do it, but at the end of the day, if that's what you want, if you want to go on real dates, if you want to get flowers and all of that, first of all, you got to stop accepting all the BS. Because again, the universe don't like confusion. So if you're accepting the less than, it's going to get all jumbled up and mixed up. Then it's going to be, oh, McDonald's here and this and that. If that's not what you want, don't do it.
You know what I'm saying? Let's get into that about, you know, wasting your time, because I do see a lot of like different posts. Oh, I met this dude online, or, you know, I met this dude and he was this, he was that. Like, what do we need to do to stop wasting, to stop putting our time into people who are wasting our time? How do we avoid that?
So this is why I actually teach roster dating, is so that the attention can be divided. A lot of us have codependency levels. We latch on to people too early. I had a post about this not too long ago. We latch on to people very early. We get so committed to them. They're already in the line as a potential partner, husband, whatever, before we really know anything about them. And so because there's so much pressure, for one, they're not allowed to be who they really are, because we've already imagined so much about them. We've romanticized so many benefits. And so thereby we end up wasting time because we're like invested. We're emotionally invested in this thing now. Oh, I got to see this through. I got to see what's going on. That is why I teach roster dating. I don't understand why we would commit to one thing if it's not really. That's like going to work for a job that ain't sent you a job offer yet. Am I intern? Like that sounds crazy, right? But that's literally
true.
Because you get out of dealing with somebody that y'all never went anywhere, and what happened? Girl, can you believe I spent 3 months interning and he didn't even hire me? That's crazy. Why did he do that to me?
You're doing it in dating. Wow.
That's how it happens. So I get a lot of pushback though, from some of my clients in the early stages because they're like, oh, I can't really juggle multiple people. And I'm like, but you not learning to juggle, which is not even juggling. It's not like you have committed relationships with all of them. You are purely an interview process. You going on a date, them the interviews. Y'all interviewing each other. Do I like you? I don't know. I don't like the way you choose food. This is the last time. Sorry, this ain't working for me. Bye. That's pretty much it.
Done. Okay.
Right. You find something that's a good fit. So the wasting time part is us overly committing to something that does not work. It's not a fit. In addition, if we throw in the fact that our lists are trash for men and for women, so that's additional time wasted dating the wrong people.
She said the list is trash. So
both are trash. Both on both sides. Trust me, I know.
Yes.
Both absolute trash.
My cousin once said, "You digging in the trash, waiting to smell like perfume. Like you digging, you can't do that." Yeah. Okay.
That's why everyone's so exhausted in the dating game. Right. I was there, and I was like, "This don't make no sense. What am I doing wrong?" Okay, wait. Let me get back to the basics. What do I like? I'm a quirky girl. I like bowling and karaoke. I like playing video games sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I like very specific to the things that I like. And what I find, a man who loves karaoke finishes my rap lyrics. We both like try weird foods and things, like literally peas in a pot. You know what I'm saying? Let that weirdness find your partner. That'll help you stop wasting time. Don't figure out who you are.
Got you. So there was like this series that you used to do, and I hope you go back to it. And it was I'm gonna title it Dating Like, and you would pick different celebrities and go through kind of like their dating style or how to date like this person, and you would give like you would be dropping some serious nuggets. So number one, I hope you bring that back. Okay.
Yes, I will.
So I literally have been waiting on you to post this, but maybe, and you may have, but I have not seen this. I wanted to know your take on J-Lo and Ben Affleck getting back together and how you feel, because a lot of people are always like, girl, don't go back to who you was with. And sometimes that person may have matured differently, grown up, like we don't know sometimes. And I think we just dismiss so many people. So my question for you is just kind of your overall opinion about that, because we know J-Lo, she out of one relationship in another. But what is your take on dating somebody, going back to dating someone you've already had a dating life with?
So my initial quick answer is nah. Because if somebody dumped Beyonce, they probably not gonna get another chance to come back to Beyonce. That's just, it is what it is, right? You get a chance at a queen, you get your number in line, get called, now calling number 105. 105 in front. You got 5 minutes to claim your spot. Yay, look, you missed your chance, you messed it up, especially if you did something. Oh no, right? So that's my quick answer. The longer answer though is, like you said, if there is some level of growth, because the problem is that a lot of women spin the block because their feelings are so attached. They have not released themselves from that person yet. And so what happens is they're like, oh, okay, let's give it a go, because I've heard love has to be hard and we're both willing to try and you can't stop who you love and the heart wants what it wants. No, none of that. None of it. Go to therapy. Go to therapy, because if he hasn't changed, right, he's just making promises to you on the same stuff. Most likely he has not changed. You got to see that growth. You really got to watch it and see the actions and make sure that the same incident comes up and he's reacting differently. Oh, okay, I see you. Okay, then maybe we can have that conversation. We could talk about what that looks like. In regards to J-Lo and Ben, I think that it is very interesting. J-Lo is, so I don't know if anybody watched her biography on her documentary on Netflix.
I haven't seen it yet.
I watched it, and granted, we're only getting a smidgen of the real picture, right?
Of course.
But from that, I got enough to see what I kind of already knew, is that J-Lo is just she is very independent, almost hyper independent based on how she was raised, how her mother is. Her mother is a fierce spirit, fierce character, right? So she instilled that in all her daughters, but especially J-Lo, as she went out to the world and dominated and did all these things and, so successful. Men try to match that. And I think there's a part in just me kind of paying attention to how people are. She's probably shutting that down. No, you can't own me. No, you can't run me. This is my thing. You better cut it out. Especially she Puerto Rican. She Puerto Rican. She, you know, hey, you better try again, whatever. So Ben coming back to her is almost like, okay, all right, you know how I am. You better sit down and don't come in here and don't act up. You better get it together. So it's like, okay, he gets it. I get it. We're cool. I don't really think it's going to last because I don't think J-Lo really likes being married. I don't think she likes being locked down.
Okay.
I don't want to curse the relationship. I'm not saying that. I just feel like her spirit, especially how much older and more mature she is, and she got her own life and she run her kids, you know, she might be like, "Ooh, I don't really like anybody in my house." Like Whoopi Goldberg. I don't really like nobody in my house. Go to your house. Ooh, why are you here? Like that kind of thing. So
okay. I'm gonna throw in a loop. Like people probably didn't think I was gonna bring this up, but I am. And the reason I am is because although it's not for me, I met someone who gave me more insight into having a polyamorous relationship. So and I want to talk before we go, I want to talk about that. And I also want to talk about being a sugar baby, because I know that you got some coaching around that. Listen, we're not going to at me. There's no judgment. People can do what they choose to do if they are not hurting people along the process. That is my rule. But in terms of polyamory and having that type of relationship, what are the guidelines? Because at first I was like, oh my God, why would people do that? No. And then I met someone who shared with me that she was in one. And she said her husband knew, but her family didn't. And she said all of a sudden her family is like, oh my God, I'm like, you're being so much happier. Like you got this glow about you. And she finally exposed, like, I'm in a polyamorous relationship. My husband does this for me. This person does that for me. And the other person's wife knows. So it's a very open communication about it. So how do you feel about that? Then we're going to jump into the sugar babies. Go.
For sure. Okay, so I'll lead by saying my first exposure to polyamorous relationships was during my first year being a widow. I dated this guy who, this happened to also be the photep I was talking about earlier. Listen, so that was the whole thing, right? And his pitch to me was, I want you to be my first wife, and you know, you just have a beautiful aura and just all these things, right? My thing was, I'm not necessarily into polyamory, but if that's your thing, just communicate with me. The problem is, though, of what really blew the whole situation up is what happens, especially with men who want polyamorous relationships, is they are not capable of the level of emotional intelligence and communication it requires, in addition to financial responsibility. Let me just throw that out there too.
Okay.
That's right. But they do not have that to be able to sustain a true polyamorous relationship with multiple people. They can't do it with one. So there's no way they can do it. So that's ultimately what happened. I found out that he did not communicate to me that he was hooking up with a girl that I knew right in my face and got me all out. And you look, one thing we hate when we date is looking stupid. You can do anything. You can kick my cat. You could ruin my favorite painting in my house. You can use all the toilet paper. Do not have me looking stupid out in these streets, right?
Right.
So that's when it was very, very publicly embarrassing because a lot of people knew about us. It was a whole thing. So that was my first exposure, and I had a level of bitterness in me about it because I was like, polyamorous relationships is trash, but I had to educate myself to say that's what cheaters want to do when they want to try to make it seem like, oh, you're just not ready for that poly lifestyle. You just don't know how we do it. And real poly people will tell you that's not how we roll.
Right.
Because it cannot work if everybody's not on the same page.
Level.
Okay. Then it's just a bunch of cheating and having sex with a bunch of people. And that's not what it is at all. So with that to be said, I will say it can work. I think it's very beneficial. And to be honest, this is really the bare bones of it. Most people been in poly relationships and didn't know.
Okay.
Yes, your elders. Because let me tell you, how many of us found out at grandpa's funeral that there's family 1 and family 2 in the first row?
Right.
And all the kids the same age. And grandma and the other lady look the same. grandpa had a type. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, that's a poly relationship. It was not communicated as such,
Right.
but that's a lot of people are in poly relationships, and because it's so taboo, that is part of, granted, the dudes or whoever's cheating, trash.
Right.
However, it is so taboo to be like, let's come together. When we talk about Black people in the village and the community, we struggle with teamwork. That's why poly can be so taboo with so many people. I'm not saying you got to be poly, whatever. I am saying that a lot of people are in poly relationships. Y'all just not talking about it.
Okay. All right. But true polyamory is a full communicated relationship, and everybody plays there. Yes. And I think that's the reason why my friend was saying, like, it works for her because her husband is on board. Her lover is on board. His wife is on board. And at first I was like, are y'all just a bunch of frinky kiki people? But no, they provide a different stimulation for each other, and the honesty is there.
And I think, honestly, I think that that's going to go up. I think we're going to see more poly relationships with women as the center, because so many more women are realizing I can have my needs met. That's what I teach my clients. We're putting your needs first. I want you to be like a city girl the first 3 months, so you can just be out there living your life, having your needs met. Because guess what? Men do this all the time. They're not really concerned with meeting your needs unless you're making them. They already like, meet my needs. I need sex. I need food. I need you to look pretty on my arm. They're getting what they want.
Right.
We're the ones being exhausted at the end of the day dating, because we're not requiring that. We're not requesting it. We're not receiving it. So,
okay, let's jump ahead because we're going to run out of time soon. And let's talk about that sugar baby life, because there are a lot of women out there that specifically, want to be a sugar baby. How specific is that? What does that really take? Because I know that there are men out there that they want a sugar baby, but talk about that a little bit, because I know you do coaching around that.
Yeah. So, okay, first to start off, that there is, within different communities, I would probably just say the Black community versus everybody else. In the Black community, being a sugar baby is sex work. That's the basis of our understanding, that being sugar baby is sex work. For most other cultures, it is not. It is not implied that as a sugar baby, you will be required to have sex. There are literally conferences that they have for sugaring that are like, they go over like different, here's how to do this, here's how to communicate. It's very like emotional intelligence, how to whatever, full on conferences. None of it is about sex. They're not taking you aside. Here, girl, here's how to give a BJ. Like, that's not a part of the game. It's not so I'll leave with that.
Okay.
The second thing is that a lot of it is really about men and women who have a lot of money, and they, for the most part, just want to spend some time with people. They just want to have a conversation. I had 3 sugar daddies. Didn't have any physical relationship with anyone. I actually had a boyfriend at the time. So listen, and he knew every time I had a date, I would send him all my information before I went out. Granted, this is not my husband, but my husband knows. He knows all about my stuff. So it's no way. But I had a boyfriend at the time. And I had 3 sugar daddies. One of them I never saw. And then 2 of them, we just went on dates. They bought me stuff and we went to concerts, and they want to sit and talk. They don't really have a lot of friends, or they do have friends and they just want somebody to focus on them. It doesn't matter. You paying me an allowance of 2 G's a month, I'm going to sit there and nod and smile.
Nod, smile, eat, and dance at the concert. Yes.
That's what your boss said that to you. I can't believe it, literally. And that's the bulk of sugaring. Now, granted, there's a level of you looking pretty because they want arm candy. You go into certain places. Some people travel. Like, I got requested a lot of times to go travel, and I didn't really want to travel because the requirement for me is, if I'm traveling, you're going to give me my own room. I'm not going to be, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't be in your room. Like, we're not together like that. So that's the thing. But there's levels to it. There's so many different levels to it. I've heard women get bought houses, laptops, all that stuff. I didn't go that far with it, but it's all a part of like what you want and what genre of sugaring you fall into. Because as a curvy woman, I was more considered to be like sex work adjacent. So it was always trying. It was always trying.
Adjacent. Yeah.
Right. Adjacent. I'm like,
yeah,
no, I'm not doing that. However, if I was, say, a stereotypical white girl, blonde hair, nothing. They wouldn't require anything. I can just sit there and get the money.
Okay. All right.
That's how it works. You got to know what you're getting into.
Man, all right. So we're gonna go ahead and take the final commercial break. When we come back, I just want to have you tell people how they can reach you, how they can work with you, and how they can actually win a free dating analysis session with you. So we'll be right back, and you'll give your information on how people can get in touch with you. We'll be right back.
Sounds good.
Pyro Media Network is a proactive network focused on providing innovative space for content creators and entrepreneurs. PMN is dedicated to giving its viewers a diverse entertainment experience while helping content creators elevate their production, engagement, and overall branding. To date, PMN has reached over 1 million viewers and listeners internationally, produced over 72 successful shows with high ratings and fanfare, and has housed over 135 content creators, brands, and businesses through entertainment and consulting services exclusive to Pyro Media. Pyro Media Network is a space that makes you feel at home. So if you or someone you know wants to make an impact, then contact PMN by visiting www.pyromedianetwork.com, and we will take your production to the next level.
Okay, we are back. I'm gonna give a quick shout out to my friends because they having a whole text conversation about this show. So shout out to Shanice, Dale, Mytrice, Crystal. Thank you for supporting me. Y'all are like the dopest ever. So all right, we have had a really great time with you. Definitely will have to have you back. Maybe we need to have you back as like a co-host where we can have some women that are ready to be on and asking those questions in person. But tell people how they can reach you, how they can work with you, and how they can win a free dating analysis session with you.
Yes. So you guys can find my website, veeprince.com. That's VeePrince.com. You can also find me on Instagram, the Vee Prince on Instagram. Same for Twitter, same for Facebook, all across the board, the Vee Prince. And so I have my booking information on my website. If you want to book a session, I have free consultations, and I also have like you can just book a session straight up. There's plenty of like downloads on my page. Like all the information is about me is there. Like please use it at your discretion. Also, so you guys can win a 30-minute session with me. And so the way you do that is you're going to go and follow me. And if you're already following me, that's fine. But I need you to also DM me so that I know like you guys are the ones that are vying for that. So follow me on Instagram. That's enough. If you want to follow me everywhere, that's cool too. But at least Instagram, and then send me a DM and say something like entering the contest or trying to win a free session. Say something so I know who you are. You know what I'm saying? Let's do it that way.
Yes. Oh my God. This has been so fun. It's been eye-opening. You want to taught me some lessons. I know we got to sit down and have our session so you can get me down the aisle.
I can't wait.
Yes, thank you for just being on and dropping some knowledge. It's been really, really great. Stay right there. Don't go anywhere. So to everybody else, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining in on the conversation. I saw the chats going. I appreciate the support. I will be back next week with, I call her the teen whisperer, Miss Kiana Shaw. This woman has like just redefine how moms and teenage daughters can really build their relationships and their bonds, and how to get that teen girl in check when she get out of line, in a very loving way though. So I'm looking forward to chatting with her, and we'll be back next week. Hope you guys had fun today. Thanks for watching. She is Shenomenal.